One way that deserts form is through something called a rain shadow effect. Before we really talk about that, we have to establish that cold air holds less water than warm air. And the easiest way to think about this is to think about what happens with an icy beverage on a hot summer day. And so this is my icy beverage, not very well drawn, but good enough for now. So here's my glass, and I've got some cold liquid inside with some ice. And what you might be able to picture is if you were to take that into a warm room or outside, that we say like the glass starts to sweat, right? And so water actually accumulates on the outside of the glass there. Now, when I was a kid, I used to think, how is the water like leaking through the glass? I don't understand this. But now I understand that what's happening is this water that's on the outside of the glass, it was always in the air out here. But because of the temperature of this icy beverage, we've got really cold air right next to the glass there. And so the air can no longer hold on to that water. So out here, the air is still holding on to its water. It's nice and warm. Even up here higher in the glass, it's holding on to its water, nice and warm, where it just cools down right next to the glass there. That water is going to come out. And that's because the cold air right next to the glass holds less water than the warm air everywhere else. Okay, so now that we have that established, we're gonna move on and talk about what the rain shadow effect is. All right, so our rain shadow effect is going to happen where you have a big mass of water, so usually an ocean out here, and then inland from that, you get some kind of high mountain mass, and then on the backside, this is where our desert is gonna form. And the reason why is because we can picture evaporation and the formation of clouds over the ocean. And then as that air travels inland, what's going to happen is it's going to hit this mountain mass and it's going to rise up. And when it does that, it's going to cool down. So it cools. And we just said that cold air can't hold as much water. So because the air is nice and cold there, it just starts to rain everything out. Okay, so we get a lot of rain here. So by the time that our air makes it over the mountain, it's going to tend to be very dry. So we say that these mountains kind of block the moisture. They don't really block the moisture. What they do is they cause it to rain out on this side of the mountain so that in the shadow of that, our little rain shadow, it's nice and dry. And that's where we have our low precipitation values. And then that's where we're going to get our deserts forming. Because I'm here in California, I can't help but point out this happens all through our state. If you actually look, we have the Pacific Ocean on our west coast, and then up the center of the state, starting in the north, we have the Cascades. Below that, kind of connected down, is going to be the Sierra Nevadas, big mountain range that runs through the center of our state. And then south of that, we have what are called the transverse ranges, which if you live here, you might know is the San Gabriel Mountains, which are north of LA, the San Bernardino Mountains, and the San Jacinto Mountains, which are outside of Palm Springs. And so basically we have lots of mountains that run up the center of our state. So we've got ocean, bunch of big mountains, and then the whole, essentially, east side of our state is desert, and that's because these mountains are sitting there, not really blocking the moisture, but just forcing it to come out on this side.